Continuing with part 2. Apologies, someone called my phone while I was using it to record these videos. Preventing overextension is pretty simple. See these source cards? I said at the beginning of your turn you get to pick up the top 3 and put them into play. So, no matter who your conjurer is, you would say 1, 2, 3. Now in this case I got a very positive draw because I drew this last. Point is, I have 8 sources and a conjurer that has -1 to all fires. If this was my hand, I could see that I can play the Flame Beast right now because he's level 8 because he's -1 from my fire conjurer. So that means that if I use all my sources, we won't say tap, but you know what I mean, you can conjure Flame Beast. Flame Beast was conjured by using all these sources. Now, the bottom line is that at the start of my next turn, when I go at the beginning, there's a replenish/shuffle phase for sources. If you have more sources used than you have available, which means not turn sideways, they shuffle back into the source deck. And they shuffle like for real shuffle. So your draw may be a little less positive this time around. And so you would draw for your turn, and you hit that, and you have to stop. So you're starting down. You would have had 8, and then drawn 3 more, but you drew this, so now you only have 5, because you overextended. Now a smart player would have actually taken this 8 field, this 8 source field, and probably conjured something smaller, but if you had no other options, obviously that's what you have to do. But if you conjure something smaller, let's say you only conjured something worth 3, then at the start of your next turn you would have 5 here, 3 down here, these would come back, and you'd draw 3 more. So that's preventing overextension, how this game plays. Moving on. Each element has its own play style. This is going to be the last little bit of the video. Hopefully you guys will like it. I apologize that it took so long. Each element plays its own style. Fire is an aggressive archetype that specializes in using cards to source shuffle their stuff away, meaning like you could use used stuff in that situation and shuffle it back for positive effects. Wind is a swarm archetype. They hit the field fast, but they're not very durable. They're usually low lifespan, high speed, low defense creatures with decent attack. But they also are very high speed, so they're pretty advanced for their fighting plays. Because an opponent won't attack into a field of wind, because the field of wind will fight back before they even have a chance to fight with all their other stuff. Earth is a heavy defense, slower deck type that specializes in drawing cards and hand manipulation. Water is a control archetype, likes to switch the opponent's creature's positions a lot, and also lifespan archetype. Ice is a attack reduction type. It usually has the special powers to basically reduce the opponent's attacks to virtually nothing with a few attacks, and is also, you know, pretty decent on all the stats. Nature is a heavy source archetype. They like to source draw a lot, like a ridiculous amount. It's crazy. They'll almost always draw out all their sources, but they're not that strong of creatures. They just hit the board fast, and they have a lot of resources to do whatever the heck they want with. Lightning is a self-destructive archetype. It likes to, think about scraps in Yu-Gi-Oh! They pop themselves to get effects off, so they're pretty aggressive. They're decent on speed, high on attack points, but they're glass cannons. They basically shatter at the first sight of any damage. Steel is the exact opposite of lightning. Steel is heavy power, high attack, high defense, very low lifespan, and either decent or crappy speed. They're usually aren't really much of a mech or archetype. They're just kind of like they hit the board and they sit there, and your opponent has to deal with them. Moving on, light is a healing archetype. Darkness pays its own life to get effects to happen. Spirit loves these 8 colors. It works very well with them, and they are high power and defense. They're kind of like steel, but with effects, but they rely on the other elements to be at their optimum. And then Chaos is the deck type that does not like to play with others. They like to play alone, and they are foresight. They like to look at the top cards of your deck, manipulate them, put them how you want. They're a very interesting archetype. It's a stray away from standard Chaos, if you know what I mean. They aren't herp derp like in Yu-Gi-Oh! In terms of playing cards, I don't know if I covered this in the last video. Skills have to have a creature on the field that matches the level or is higher and the same element. Creatures, you have to use sources equal to the level of the creature to put it on the board. Tomes and counters. These cards have a circle symbol and a number. If you want to play break, you have to have this many cards, not sources, cards. So you see how this says 3 source? That means you have to have 3 source cards on the table, total, or more. Since break states that you have to shuffle a source card that you control in order to keep it, in order to use it, you can't like double break if you only have 3 sources, because then you'll have only 2, and then you can't use the next one. So that's just how specialties work. You can play as many specialties as you want. If you have 5 sources on the table, source cards, or 6, whatever, and all the specialties in your hand are level 5 or below, you can play every single one of them that turn and not have to care, because you have that many source cards. But this also makes stuff into turn 1, turn 2-ish type cards, even though if you play something like this, which shuffles your sources, you're putting yourself behind. It's very, very helpful. And finally, you have conjurers. Conjurers have this level here, so you have to use that many sources of any colors to play the conjurer. If you have 2 conjurers that share a negative on there, the negative is applied twice over. So like if you have a fire, -1, and another fire, -1, then both of them will have, it'll be a total of -2. If you have a fire -1, fire -1, fire -1, all of them will be -3 to whatever the fire are in your hand. If you have a fire and an earth that are both -1s, then you get 1 -1 to earth, 1 -1. All the stats basically accumulate. Like I said though, you don't want to have multiple conjurers, because the opponent can just take advantage by killing them all. The last rule is that if this is the field, for instance, you have this on the field, that's it. Your opponent can't fight you that turn. It's a little rule. It's my OTK blocker called the respect turn. If the opponent finds a way to board wipe you, like say you have your mighty flame beast on the board and the opponent meteor streams away the flame beast, because that's what meteor stream does, it kills stuff. You don't have creatures or conjurer on your table, they can't go after you that turn. It's kind of like a turn that your conjurer gets to run and hide and regroup for a second. Yeah, so you get a turn of extra source, a turn to recoup by playing a creature. Now what's the rules though? You can't turns in a row. So if you take 1 by the opponent forcing it on you, you have to play something next turn, or they can swing at you with everything they have. So same goes for the opponent. And if something is destroyed via your own condition, meaning like you killed your own stuff, you don't get that respect turn. You can't abuse that. It's an OTK blocker essentially. It also means that on the first turn you don't have to have the rule of neither player can attack on their first turn, because you can, but the respect turn would prohibit it. So if you can manage to find a way to put a creature on your opponent's field on the beginning turn without anything else happening, you can fight. There's no delays here. That's just how it works. So anyway, that's pretty much it. I can't really think of anything else to go over in the game aside from maybe interception and counterattacks. Bottom line is this: you have a creature, the opponent attacks it, you can attack back with your creature for 1 damage. So if something attacks you with only 1 lifespan, it's going to die too, and both players will take a damage because both creatures killed a creature. That's the other thing. Creature kills a creature. That's how you take a damage. If Meteor Stream kills a creature, you don't take a damage. So creature kills creature, you take a damage. If a creature gets attacked, you can counter back for 1 and any other abilities that the creature has. For this case, he has burn. So that means that if he attacks him, you can punch back for a counter, and it will deal 2 damage, because burn does 1 damage anytime that your creature fights. So that's pretty simple. Interception is a bit more complex. If you have a creature that's speed is equal to or higher than the creature fighting, and that creature hasn't attacked yet, or I think it's, yeah, if that creature hasn't attacked yet, that creature can jump in front of the attack. So if you have a creature that takes a few turns to start up its effect, you can play a high-speed creature that can just chump block for that creature every time. But once that creature dies, you know, he can't counter while he's being attacked, and he can't attack if he decides to intercept on that turn. So it's a win. It's a win-lose situation type thing. Full defense is applied while they're guarding. This number is usually twice as big as this number. So this 3 becomes a 6 if he's guarding. Guarding creatures can't do anything except sit and protect you. So, I mean, it's really pretty much how it is. It's like they're guarding, they're there to protect only. If you use it when you're trying to save yourself from losing the game. I hope you guys enjoy the game. Please be gentle. I mean, it is something I've been working on for a while. I hope that we can get this out by December 12th of 2012, because it's all 12s. Once again, this is Guy in the Backseat, doing other games. Check us out. Comment, rate, subscribe. Sorry the videos took a total of like 30 minutes. I hope you guys enjoy this, and we're having an event on Sunday, April 22nd in Lakeland. If anybody wants to try it out, if they manage to see this video, it'd be awesome. Give you a high five if you find me. So anyway, thank you for your time. Goodbye.